So in today's video we'll be talking about the disadvantages of this bike. It is cool, it really looks good, and people stare at it and they come to you and ask what bike it is. Some can figure out, most can't. When you make something new, definitely you will love it, obviously you will love it. So those are the basic points, but today we are going to talk about the disadvantages. So let me start. The first is, if there's an issue with the spark plug, it's really hard to reach there. So for that, if I remove both these fins from here, then it is possible to reach to the spark plug, which is there obviously on both the sides. So there are three spark plugs on this bike, everyone knows that. So to reach two of them is easy, almost easy, not very hard. See, my hands are thin, so I can really reach there without removing these fins. So for two spark plugs it's easy, but the third one, the main one, or some do call it the mother spark plug, I think. So that one, to take that out, it's really hard. Another issue, so we have a bigger issue here now. Let me tell you. So with this bike now, the first thing that needs to remove is this panel, which has two screws in it, and after that you need to remove obviously the cowl, which is hard to remove, really hard, really hard to remove, and then the seat. Then only you can access the seat, and then the tank. And after that you'll be able to change the oil filter, sorry, I mean the air filter. So that's a big process, that's a long process, and but you have to do what it takes now. And for everyone asking about the vibrations, so this is pretty solid, but time to time it some parts they do get loose, they need to be tightened, and there are a little bit of vibration which is negligible, I guess. At least for me it is negligible, and I do take this bike off-roading. I mean, not actual off-roading, वैसे खेतों में ले जाता हूँ. So that's some kind of off-roading, and it is good, it does good, although you'll have to keep in mind that it doesn't touch the ground. There are places like that. Other than that, it looks good obviously. So now that I have installed these tires, let me tell you, the front one's 120 and this is 180. And if you're thinking about initial and top end, so I have no idea about the top end. I don't really get chance to do all these top ends and all. But yes, the initial, it doesn't really feel slow, but yes, there's a difference, only this kind of difference. But doesn't go even 100, barely goes up to 100 kilometer per hour, and I don't really get chance, I don't really ride a lot, so that's not an issue for me. So these tires are good, they look good, and performance is fine for me. But yes, installing these, that was a headache. So there's barely 3 mm space between the swing arm and the tires on both sides. And look at the mudguard, look at this, but it is wide, it does look good. That's the only good point, that's the only good point. So if you want a dhuradhar performance kind of thing, so if you want great performance, keep the stock, go 10 mm higher, nothing much. So another disadvantage, the ground clearance problem has been solved because of the tires. Now it's an inch higher, almost more than an inch obviously. So the another problem is there's space between the mudguard, between the wheels, between the suspension and the fairing is very less. So if you are turning somewhere and if you press the brakes really hard, it's going to touch each other. So that's one thing that needs to be kept in mind all the time, almost all the time. Because I did want to make it low, so that it looks bulkier and all. So for that, I had to make it low, and that's the problem that gets in the way. That is, whenever you brake really hard, this part comes down on this. So also some scratches, see, look, these, that's not a very big matter for me, but I think that might be a problem for some, but I'm the only one who rides this, so not a big problem. Just need to be cautious about this. So yes, there are scratches here, but that won't be a problem for me. And that Other than that, yes, cleaning of the parts that has got tough. That has got tough, really. Like reaching to the spark plugs there. And other than that, the swing up and cleaning. Obviously, one thing that I didn't tell you, that is, I installed this wheel cover wrong. So the air valve that is almost here, and this part was supposed to be there. I did it here, and while I was coming here, I had to open this twice to fill air because the tube it's leaking. It's leaking, so that is a headache kind of a thing. That you can see the wire here, right here. That's a wire. That's for the DRL. The DRL. Obviously, they are custom made. So for the DRL, I connected it direct to the battery because I didn't want it. Last time, my CDI that got damaged. That is here. You can see it from this place. Yes. Yeah. So there's the CDI. All the 12 wires it has. 12, I guess 12 wires. So last time the CDI got damaged. I don't know what was the reason, but most probably it was some electrical failure. Now I do keep an additional CDI with me, so no one does that, but I do. Again, the suspension of this bike that doesn't really work anymore. That needs to be replaced. Dashboard. The dashboard sometimes the dashboard used to make noise, but I did solve that putting double-sided tape on some places. That's all it needed.